This is another free e-learning tutorial from dakinane.com. In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to create activities inside SeeSaw for students to do. And so what we're going to create today is a series of onset and rime tiles that we can use as an activity in SeeSaw. So it's a phonics activity or a chunking activity, whatever you want to call it. So I've already made a rime tile here, and I'm going to show you how to use Google Drawing to make the tiles and resources. So in this case, what we're going to do here, first of all, is going to create a new Google Drawing, and we're going to make the onset tile. So what we're going to do here, first of all, is click on File, come down to Page Setup, and we're going to switch from Standard to Custom. I'm going to put the units of measure as pixels, and I'm going to make a 75 by 75 pixel document. Click Apply. Now this is going to be massive, so I now want to click on View, click on Zoom and make it 100%. That's the actual size of our document. And I'm now going to make a tile using shapes. I like to use the round edged one and just fill the square like this. And I'm going to fill it with yellow. I'm going to put a 4 pixel grey border around the outside, and I'm going to use Baluthambi as my font, 36 point, and I'm going to align it to the right, and I'm going to make it in the center. So some of the onsets we're going to use, let's just use an initial letter. So in this case we might use letter T. So that's my onset tile. And so to save that, I'm going to name it, let's call it on. And I'm going to call it T. And then I'm going to download it, download as a PNG. That means I'll maintain the transparent background, so I just see the tile when I use it in SeeSaw. So click on that, let's go download. And now that I've made my tile template, I can just keep repeating this. Let's use another initial letter. Let's just say we wanted to do the letter A. I'd now call this onset letter A, and then File, Download, PNG, click OK. And I'll just keep repeating that activity like that until I got all the onset tiles that I need for this activity. Now that I've made my onset and rime tiles using Google drawings, I'm now going to come and assemble my resources into an activity. So I've logged into my SeeSaw classroom. I'm going to click on Activities. Down here, I'm going to browse the activity library, and as this loads up, we can see all the stuff that's been made by other people. But I'm going to click on My Library, and I'm going to create a new activity. So let's call this now. In here we can type in the instructions, but I much prefer to use multimedia instructions. So we can click on here and we can use the video option or the drawing option or the photo option. So I'm going to choose video, and here you see I would now want to use the video option here to record my lesson to my students, the instructions that I wanted them to do. I could also use a drawing, and I could draw in here as well. So I'm just going to click on this. I'm going to delete that now. But you need to put in here your voice instructions or your multimedia instructions. But let's now look at the template for student responses. So I'm going to click on this. And what I'm going to click on here is drawing, because I want the students to be able to use the record function and the draw function when they do the activity. And now I'm going to upload my resources. So if we click on the photo over here, we can click on the upload function. And if I go to my downloads and I go down, there we go, here's my onset tiles. Let's see if I can highlight all of them, click open. Yes, I can. So now I've got a whole bunch of onset tiles here. So I've uploaded all my tiles. They're way too big. So let's just scale these down to be the appropriate size. And they were all 75 pixels high, so I can just scale them so they're all the same size. So once we've got these all scaled, and I'll pause the video here while I just scale these. Now that I've uploaded my onset and my rime tiles and scaled them, you can see I've organised them across the top of the screen like this. And obviously the object of the activity the students are going to be doing is taking a tile like T and adding it to the onset to the rime, so we can get the word tip. And then obviously the students will be using the tools down here to circle the word and say the word, so that you can understand they're actually beginning to chunk their words together. But we need to provide them with enough resources to be able to do, you know, tip and sip and bit and sit and so on and so forth. So we need to duplicate these tiles. So what we can do here is we can click on the ellipsis here and you can duplicate. And so let's just do that again, do it several times, duplicate. And what we can do now is we can align these tiles over the top of each other. So every time the students take a tile, there's a tile left behind, and it's entirely up to you to decide how many of those tiles we want. So we'll just duplicate and duplicate and duplicate, and we can align these tiles over the top, and so the students can use as many tiles as they think they need or you think they require to actually make as many words as you want to do, and you obviously complete that along the entire process. So all the way along you can click on duplicate, duplicate. So you only need to make one, and then one tile, as I said, and then you can make it work over the top. So I'll just finish this process off and I'll show you the finished resource once I've done the whole process all the way along. Right, I've created all of those now. I just want to show you what you could also do is if you click on an object like this and you do Control C or Command C and then Control C or Control V, you can also paste it and copy them, paste them like that, so you can create a multiple stack. So there's different ways of actually copying those tiles. So I'll just put those in position like that. You can see how they're layered by the order in which they're pasted, and so they're all in place there. So once you're finished, you've got that all sorted, you can now click on the tick icon here and it's sorting it all out. There's my work done. I would have put some instructions in here, but you should do your multimedia instructions, easier for the students to follow, and in this case for parents to be scaffolded through the task as well, and click on save. And here it is here. So now we can do several things. In here we can share the activity if you want to share it to other people in your SeeSaw community or to the wider community. We can add it to a collection, copy and edit it, etc., etc. We're just going to add it to a collection, so we're testing content, and click on assign, and we're going to assign it to a room, but you can also assign it to specific students. So you could say this particular activity is differentiated for these 3 students and can send it out to them. You can put it into a particular folder, so we'll put it in a literacy folder as well. Click tick. Now, by assigning it to those 3 students doesn't necessarily mean that other students can't do it, but SeeSaw will only be monitoring that those 3 students have done it. So assign to the class. Okay, exactly right. And we can now go back to class and we can look on here. Let's have a look at this, see what it looks like. It's all loading up. And so now this is what the activity the students would be doing. They could click on, whoops. They can drag on a tile down here like this. So they can do same, and they can do sit. They can drag all this down. Of course, what they can now be doing is once they've done that, they can drag this down and type sing, etc., etc. So we use the T tile to grab the letters, and they can still grab from here. So let's click on the record function. Okay, so now we can say these words. So I'm going to say sit, same, sit, and sing. Come back to here, and I'm going to see what else. So what else can I put in here? Same, sit, sing, sip. And we can do, or run out of S's now. But I can now copy this. So if your students, even if they run out of words, they can still do it. Let's do sip. And all the while this is being recorded, and the students can finish this off. We'll click done. There we go. We can play. We can see this working now. So we know the activity works for our students, and click, we'll close this. We don't need to keep this. We don't want to do this. Delete that. We've tested our activity. We know that it works, and we can now wait for our students to hand that back into us. Looking over here, it's been assigned to 3 students in the literacy folder, and the template is attached. And that is the power of using activities that you create for yourself inside SeeSaw. So combination of using tools like Google Drawing to actually create the resources that you wanted to do. There's many different things we could do with that, and using that inside SeeSaw will create some very powerful learning opportunities for your students.